Now let's talk about how our economy individually and as a country can improve, because when we talk about poverty, it's not something that is pleasant, and the World Bank estimates that 61% of Nigerians live below the poverty line. And then there's a 2022 survey which found that 133 million people, that is 63% of the population, live in multi-dimensional poverty. How can we live above poverty? Because that's not where we should be as individuals or as a nation. We have in the studio with us a business analyst and development consultant, Mr. Roman Oseghale. Thank you so much for joining us. I know when it comes to economic matters, you're always pumped up, about it. And I can see that you already have some things to, demonstrate to us, some of these things. Why are we still where we are when we talk about poverty, and it will seem as if the needle is not moving?
First of all, thank you for having me in the program. This is a topic I've always been very passionate about, and I run the figures from time to time, update them, and they don't look good. And the reason why they don't look good is because we have a track record of doing something wrong. And they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, First of all, let me take us back to 2018, when the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation said that by 2050, Nigeria and the DRC will account for, I think, 40% of the total number of people living in extreme poverty in the world. Now, that's in 2050. Now, that got me thinking, I had to run numbers, and I found out that, well, they were correct. And basically, between that 2018 and 2050, Nigeria was going to have like 5 presidents, right? So why is Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation telling us what will happen in 2050? Obviously, they don't know whether we're going to put the best of the brains together to come run the country. They don't know who is going to sit in Aso Rock. They don't know the caliber or the pedigree of those who are going to come sit in Aso Rock. So basically what he was saying was that it's not a person thing. Irrespective of who sits in Aso Rock, poverty will continue to increase, right? And that's because it's a system thing. Systems are run by, they run procedures. You basically know through probably maybe data mining and all that stuff. Now, but he's telling us what will happen in 2050, right? So before that 2050, as I said earlier, we're going to have 5 presidents. But it's not a person thing, it's a system thing. So basically, Nigeria's economic model is not designed to create wealth. It impoverishes the people. So no matter what the president does, if that economic model is not changed.
Now, what model are you referring to?
So we do not run an investment model, right? We run what is called an asset depletion economy, where you deplete your asset to fund your expenditure without appropriate reinjection of enough funds to cover the liabilities of your depletion. Did you get that?
You could break it down further.
Okay. So every year, you deplete your natural resources, right? Now, when you deplete your natural resources, they are part of your total assets. Now, going back in the 80s, let me go back to the 80s so that we'll be able to understand. Now, in the 80s, the World Bank found out that a lot of countries were increasing GDPs, right? And which was a good thing. But the World Bank now said, okay, fine, we need to know where the growth is coming from. And they found out that what was going on was that a lot of these mineral resources were needed in some other parts of the world, and countries were just mining their mineral resources and selling, right? It's just like saying they increase your salaries today, right? Your household expenditure will automatically increase, which is like your GDP. So the World Bank now said, well, we need to go back to the drawing board and really define what the wealth and assets of countries are, and also how to teach the countries and put together a roadmap on how they will manage these assets. So they put the asset in four broad categories. Namely, I put them on slides if they want to show the slide. Mainly produce capital, human capital, natural capital, and then your net foreign assets. Your produced capitals are your infrastructure, your manufacturing, your machineries, while your human capital is you and I, innovation. Natural capital, we have the gold, the crude oil, gas, tin, we have the waterways, we have the forestry. Now, under the natural capital, they further subdivided it into reproducible and non-reproducible. The reproducible being like your forestry. You can have deforestation and afforestation. You plant trees. For instance, again, you can have fish. You know, your waterways and your fishery, they are also assets of the country. You can deplete the fish in the lake now, and government will say, hey, stop fishing because there's too much depletion. The agency in charge will raise fingerlings, introduce them into the lake, give it 3 to 6 months. That asset has been restocked, right? Now, that is for that. Then the non-renewable are the ones the earth produces. You're talking about your gold, your crude oil, your gas, your bitumen, and all that stuff. Now, then your net foreign assets are your sovereign wealth funds, foreign direct investments, your foreign loans, and then your foreign reserve. Now, so what the World Bank did was to highlight this, and then they took the countries one by one and then estimated the total assets of each country. So what the World Bank is saying is that, look, it is not bad that you're selling your crude oil, right? But what are you doing with the funds when you sell your crude oil? You understand? So if you sell your crude oil and you deplete that asset, right, you need to reinvest that amount or substantial of that amount back into something that will cover up for the depletion of what you have done. And that's what we're not doing.
So of all this wealth and assets of country that you listed, the produce, the human, the natural, and the foreign, where are we doing, relatively okay? Okay,
so when I ran the numbers, right, I think the wealth of nations that the World Bank publishes them, I think maybe every 5 years or 4 years, right? Now the last one I ran, right? I read some of the
findings.
Yeah, findings to you. Now, they actually classified them under low income, lower middle income, then high income countries. Now, for the low income countries, the produced assets was 14% of total assets, human capital 41%, natural assets was 47%, and the net foreign asset was -2%. Now, the lower middle income countries, which Nigeria belongs to, produced assets was about 25%, human capital 51%, natural capital 27%, and the net foreign assets was -3%. But when I ran that of Nigeria, our produced capital was about 10.3%, human capital was 55.9%, natural capital was 34.65%, and the net foreign capital was 0.91%, approximately 1%. Now, but you see, these are like your portfolio investments. They change over time. You understand? You know, you could say housing is giving you more returns now. You put more money in housing this year. Next year, you might say, oh, the stock market is booming. You invest more in the stock market. Now, they change over time. They are not static. But the thing is this. If you look at the breakdown, Nigeria, the human capital accounts for what? 55.9%, which makes sense that, look, this is the asset that you should really concentrate on, you understand, and invest in. But Nigeria is not doing that. Let's go to slide 1. I want to explain something, please. Slide 1. Okay, so you have the 4 broad categories of capitals, right? The assets. Now, your net worth is your what? Your assets minus your what? Your liabilities, right? Now, the way the World Bank calculates this thing is based on a formula that has been given. And if you look on the screen, the formula the World Bank gave is what is called the adjusted net savings, ANS for short, right? And what is ANS? It's your net national savings. That is what you already have, plus education expenditure, plus minus energy depletion, minus mineral depletion, minus net forest depletion, minus damages from carbon dioxide emissions, and minus damages from particulate emission. So each year, when you deplete your crude oil, right, you're creating a liability, which ultimately shows back in the what? In the balance sheet of the country. Because the balance sheet is your statement of net worth. And as you deplete your crude oil, what basically happens is that you're depleting your assets. I want to do that demonstration again. This is the best way I normally explain this for people to understand. Now, this is your crude oil, right? Let's just say this is 30, as of today, Nigeria has about 37.5 to 37.8 billion barrels of crude, right? Which, if we go by the way we are mining, should be exhausted in another between 50 to 60 years. That means that you're depleting that asset, right? Now, every day, right now we're doing about 1.6 million barrels per day, right? So, you now mine 1.6 million as of today, right? I am Nigeria. You are the foreign buyer, which I have sold to you, right? Now, the question is this. This is $100 million, right? Which, can you take this?
Yeah, collected.
Okay, now, you are paying me for this crude I'm selling to you, right? So you pay me. Now, you've paid me, right? The question is, have I made money?
It looks like that.
How?
You have.
Explain.
Okay, you have sold, right?
Yeah.
And you got money.
Okay, so let me rephrase the question again. Have I created wealth?
No.
Okay.
You have collected money.
Okay, so why would you say I've not created wealth? Explain to me.
Wow.
Okay, let me help you out, right? The only thing I did, right, is to turn my natural assets to physical cash, current assets, right? So if you go back to the balance sheet, right, the assets will now change. I now have
crude oil.
Lesser crude oil. I have the same equivalent in cash.
In cash, all right.
You understand?
Yes.
So
But what do you do with the cash?
Good. So what I do with this cash determines whether I get what? Richer or poorer. Right. Go back to slide 1. Go back to slide 1. Now, the formula says what? Net adjusted savings, or adjusted net savings equals net national savings plus what? Education expenditure. So in this formula, education is the only one that if you spend on, right, you are not what? You are not losing. That's why they say education is an investment, is not an expense. You get it, right? Good. Every other thing here, except if you're now spending on, we cannot reproduce mineral depletion, we cannot reproduce energy depletion, which is crude oil and gas, we cannot reproduce carbon dioxide and stuff, but we can also reproduce our what? Forestry, right? So if you deplete this and invest in education, right? You are not what?
Okay, so are you saying now that perhaps we are not investing so much in education, and that's linked, of course, to the poverty
it is.
line that we have?
This is a clear form. See, sorry to say this, right? But I feel the black man has a problem. Everywhere or anything the white man has achieved today is through what? Try and error. But they've given you roadmap, and you still can't follow it.
So let's chart this map now.
Okay.
How the 63% of Nigerians who are living in multidimensional poverty can actually, walk gradually out of it.
Okay, I'll say something to you, right? Let's go to slide. See, the formula says your net worth is your asset minus your what? Liability. I'll give you an instance. You and me. Let's just say you live on the island and you live in a service apartment. Your father willed maybe 10 plots of land to you. Each one is worth 200 million, right? And you decided you want to move to the island. You want to shop in the big stores. You want to do two foreign trips every year. You want to change your cars every year. And each year you sell one of those lands to fund that lifestyle, right? But I decided to live in Mowe, right? And I do not shop from the big stores. In fact, I go to buy second-hand clothes. I buy second-hand shoes. I still drive my 504, you understand? But each year, I sell one land and I buy stock. I invest in companies. I invest in bonds. You understand? And they give me returns that is more than that 200 million, right? On the surface, who will they, when people see both of us, who would they say is richer? Obviously, they will say that babe has arrived, that woman has arrived, right? Yeah. But when the bankers look at our books, who would they give loan to? Mm-hmm. It is me. Because they know that I have the asset, I'm well managed. Do you understand? That is what the World Bank is doing here. And I want to buttress this point by, let's go to slide 9, Nigeria and Pakistan. Now, this is the world poverty map, right? Pakistan is almost at the same threshold with Nigeria. Population, let's do slide 9, please. Slide 9. The world poverty map. Good. Now, Pakistan is in green near India, next to India, right? Pakistan will meet the sustainability development goals by eradicating poverty by 2030. But Pakistan, when you go to Pakistan, you will see more poverty, right? But let us look at Nigeria. There is in red. We are adding, we are not reducing.
Okay, how do we reduce poverty?
That's what I'm saying. We need to fix it.
Let's get to that now.
See,
because
Nigeria needs to change its economic model. Your statement of net worth is equal to your asset minus your liability. I want to tell you and I'll show you what Pakistan is doing, right? If you go to the streets of Pakistan, the modest living, they look more impoverished than us, you understand? But we, on paper, we are the ones adding poverty because the economic model is wrong. Pakistan is following what the World Bank has put there. They are following, when they deplete, they invest somewhere else. And I'll show you what Pakistan is doing. Now, go to slide 10, the last slide. You see, we are almost at par with population. Combined GDP, GDP 252 Nigeria, Pakistan 371. Combined GDP from 2020 to 2024. Nigeria has combined a total of $9.1 trillion. Pakistan has only done 5.99 trillion, approximately 6 trillion. Average GDP per capita, 2000 to 2024, Nigeria is almost $2,000. Pakistan is 1,130, right? But look at what Pakistan is doing. Natural resources as rent of GDP. Nigeria has depleted, in 12 years average, Nigeria has depleted 11.2%. Pakistan has only depleted 1.59%.
Okay.
Now, look at adjusted savings, education expenditure as a percentage of GNI. Nigeria only invests 0.8%. Pakistan invests an average of 2.04%.
So we should do more as a country, investment model.
Obviously, if you want to grow wealth, you need to invest. Live below your means. Invest the surplus and watch your compounding interest.
So for every of our finance officials listening this morning, it is, your suggestion. And
it's not my suggestion.
And the suggestion, as we have seen,
it's not my suggestion. That is how to grow wealth.
To grow wealth for Nigeria and Nigerians.
Good. Then the second thing is this, right? Pakistan, I want people to Google it. Pakistan plants 1 billion trees. Now, the formula says what? Minus net forest depletion, right? I actually sent a video in, but they said they can't play it because they don't know.
We are even having running out of time right now.
So now,
we need to go.
Do you know, we deplete our forest to the tune of 400,000 hectares rather, every year. What are we restocking?
So the tree they're planting is every year.
Good. Now, Pakistan, I think 2019 or 2020, right? They planted 1 billion trees, right? Now, if you go to...
In 1 year?
No, yeah, I think...
Or over the years?
No, in 1 year, right? Now, if you go to tree value calculator, now, that means that they are showing up their natural assets. If you go to tree value calculator, what you will see, if you plant, let's just say you choose a rosewood, right? At nursery state, a rosewood is about $1 or $2, right? In 10 years, 5 to 6 years, when it's fully matured, right? A rosewood will cost you between $2,500 to $3,000 in the market.
So basically, as a country, we need to do more in terms of investment.
Investment in education.
Not just investing in government airplane, cars.
Those are the things, those are the frivolities that are killing us.
But investing in the people.
Yes.
Investing, particularly as you mentioned, education, infrastructure.
And also restocking our forest. Nigeria is one of the top countries with the highest deforestation rate in the world.
While we are talking to government, is this something also quickly, because we need to go now, that individuals can also borrow from, no matter how small your income is, to find a way of investing?
See, Nigerians...
We need to go.
Okay, Nigerians need to... There's something that we need to do, right? We are a race that live beyond our means. It is not a contestable word. You understand? People need to cut down on their lifestyle. You understand? Invest more. Even if you earn 100,000 or 200,000 a year.
No matter how small the investment is,
even if it's
just make it
5,000 every month, be putting into some kind of investment, and you what the compounding interest.
Yes.
This is what we need to teach the younger generations on what to do.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, business analyst and development consultant, Mr. Roman Oseghale. Thank you for being here.